All right, guys. Good morning, everybody. How are we all doing today? Neil, it's great to see you on here, buddy. How are things? Alex, Tom, Valerie, Sebastian. Have you changed your shift, Neil? How's everybody been getting on with their trading, guys? It's been some super moves. Oh, it's great. Neil, been very well, thank you. As you know, I've just come back from Vegas, which was pretty crazy, as you would expect in Vegas. So back now, focused on the markets. Did 28 come in? To be honest with you, Alex, I didn't play 28. I'm sure it did come in if you keep playing it. Neil, it's great to hear that your trading's progressing well. Markets are working very, very nicely. Yeah, 36 to 1 chance, you're right. It's actually 37 to 1 if you take into account the zero. There's actually double zeros now in their roulette, so yeah, 38 exactly, yeah. Alex, you were saying you had a decent week as well. Was that not last week, the week before, right? Great stuff. Ah, Sebastian needs the link. Uh, Tom, if you have the link, or anybody else, do you mind just posting it in? Just for him anyway, but he should have it. Guys, you should be able to see my screen. I'm showing the calendar. Can't seem to see what screen I'm showing, but I should be showing the calendar right now. Yeah, that looks fine. Okay, perfect. So let's have a look what we've got coming out this week, today. So we had the Bank of Japan Kuroda speaking at 2 o'clock this morning, and we also had the inflation numbers. Now, we had a previous number of 2.1. Don't know what the forecast was. Doesn't say anything. Yeah, it's come up as 2%. Okay, which is obviously lower than the previous number, but no forecast number. So, and as of this, the rest of the week, rest of the day, it looks like a fairly quiet day as normally is on a Monday. And let me just have a quick little look through the week. We have the RBA statement coming out this early hours of Tuesday night. Should move the Australian dollar. Quite a few speeches. We've got the Bank of Canada. We've got Yellen speaking as well on Tuesday evening. So inventories on Wednesday. RBNZ statement Wednesday. So Tuesday, Wednesday looks like a fairly busy, active day. Not so much on Thursday. We've got unemployment numbers. We do have the Swiss chairman Jordan speaking as well on Thursday, and then the monetary policy statement from Australia, the RBA. Okay, so quite a lot of data this week, guys. It should create a lot of volatility. So if you're on some swing trades, hopefully they go your way. For day trading, you've got to be a little bit careful. If you're going for the sort of tighter stops, it's easy to get whipsawed on announcements. Anybody in any positions right now? So I'm going to be looking at this from a fairly fresh point of view. Flat, okay. So euro dollar really has done pretty much exactly as expected, since we kind of highlighted this area up here as a sell zone. You can see the market's really come off quite a bit, and you know the natural area where it wants to go and kind of meet is old support, which comes in down here. Now that doesn't mean that it can't get any lower. It certainly can. But what we kind of discussed at the time is that the easy move is back down towards old resistance that becomes future support. Okay, and we've still got a little bit of room for it to get there. If we head over to the daily chart, let's have a look to see what it looks like. Okay, so I've just been playing around with some things here. So it looks kind of messy. So let me clean this up a little bit, okay, so that I don't confuse anybody. Been kind of testing the Fibonacci fans, and what's quite interesting is that I'm finding that they're matching up with my angles a lot of the time. So just doing a little bit of testing. Yeah, exactly, Tom. So this is actually a market angle, this one here, which actually worked perfectly. Let's zoom in here to call the pretty much the high points of the move. So you can see it starts from there, hits there, hits there, and hits there. And right now we might actually see a little bit of a bounce before moving lower. So I do like the test of this head and shoulders. So we have this nice support here, which we might, you know, we've kind of just sat in a bit of consolidation. If you kind of just zoom into this, we'll go into the smaller time frames as well, but you can see this little section here is just consolidation here. So we're kind of at the bottom end of that support. So what might be interesting is if we can get a little bit of a pullback, perhaps towards, you know, this sort of zone here. I'd quite like that as another area where we could start to look for a short in the euro dollar. So at the moment we're at 116. We're looking towards 117.16 just based off this time frame. Now, guys, with a chart pattern, you should definitely know where your target is based on both the head and the shoulder. So although we've kind of marked that weekly level, we should also really kind of mark down where this pattern is basically pointing to. So what you need to do is you need to draw from the high to the low. I'm going to draw a parallel line here, and I want to take that and project it down. Okay, and that's just going to give us a bit of an idea of where the market might be targeting. Okay, it doesn't mean you need to trade it to there, but certainly you want to know these levels because you may even want to play the reaction. Okay, and right now that level is coming in around here, which is around 113.40. Okay, that's 113.40. That's where the head is predicting, and if we just kind of measure this shoulder here, this will also give us an idea of where the support might come in. And let's just see where exactly that level is. Around 115.60. Okay, so I'm just going to clean this up a little bit. Just based off the head and shoulders pattern. Let's delete this as well. Okay. All right, and I'm just going to head over to the. By the way, guys, if there's anybody that wants me to look at looking at something imminent that's moving, please let me know, because I'm just going to take a little bit of time today just to kind of show you what to look out for. Okay. One of the interesting things here is that this is a market angle line here, this big thick yellow line, which is also matching very closely with this 113.35 zone. Okay, which is also quite a decent level. So you can see the market did react here in the past. So it could find a level there for sure. Okay, but as we said, if we go back to that weekly chart, around 114.60 looks like a good area to target first. And you can see even recently the market has reacted around that area. You can see this consolidation bit here. So for me, we'll keep these as our targets here. All right. Any questions, guys? Is this all making sense? I'm going to go over to the smaller time frame now to see if we can plan. It's always good to write notes in, guys, as well, just so that you remember why you've put something in. Every time I haven't done that, it's quite frustrating when you look back and you can't remember why you've come up with a target. So I'm just going to put it in there. Okay. Now let me head over to the smaller time frame. So remember, we've got 115.60, we've got 114.60, and we've got 113.60 as well. Okay, this area here is basically the weekly level. So this is quite a major level. Right, so with that in mind, why don't we go and have a look at the 4-hour chart. Zoom out. Now, This is actually a target that I set in play from basically up here. And I'm just going to add in the fibs here to see if that's still valid right now. So let's add in the manual fibs. Zoom in. All right, here we are. So the manual fibs right now are saying we have an A, obviously a very big move here. B, we've pulled back to the 38. Where is the 1618? So the 1618 right now, this is interesting. Actually, I want to put in the other one. I've done the wrong one. Sorry, guys. 1 second. So this is quite interesting. Zoom out a bit. Let me just double check. Whoops. Move this by mistake. So right now, let's zoom out, sorry. Right now, if you have a look, I mean with the current pullback, we're looking at around 114.10. Okay. Now, if you recall, just go back to our daily. We've mentioned 115.60, 114.60, 113.35. So we should really put these in there into our 4-hour chart. So let me start by doing that. I mean, I didn't realize how close this was. This is I would actually almost say this is actually a hit on that first target. If that's not a hit yet, maybe we'll just hit that today. But for me, that looks like a completion of that 115.60. I mean, it's about 10, 12 pips off, I believe. Maybe just slightly, yeah, around that. And then we said 114.60. I believe. Let me just double check that. And then 113.35. Okay. Now, what we spoke about earlier is possibly this market sort of pushing a little bit higher before going lower. And we spoke about anywhere kind of around 117.16. And possibly it could even look a bit higher. I mean, this is a bit of a level here as well. So I would say this becomes, a sell zone. Any rally in it up here, for me, is a sell zone. Okay, so that's between 117.16, 117.70. Now, where is that up here? What could be quite interesting, and sometimes you get kind of a bit of a heads up with the Fibonacci, is that if you have a look at this, I mean, we've looked at 70, which is around there, and obviously 117.16, which is around here. So you could definitely argue these areas here to be sell zones. Everybody, where would you put your stop if you sell it in one of these two spots or both of those spots? Let's get you guys involved. Yep, exactly, Alex. Behind the A, perfect. So the good thing is that we've also got a trend line here as well. So it's going to have to break the A and it's going to have to break the trend line in order to get stopped out. So let's say we went somewhere here as a stop. And where would you guys target? Everybody just type in where you target. If it depends, then tell me what it depends on. And whilst you guys answer that, I'm going to do one more thing here. Just going to add in my up Fibonacci. So anybody, guys? Anybody got a target in mind? Okay, so right now the up fibs aren't going to be that relevant. So I'm going to delete them, but we'll come back to them. $114.80 looks like a good target as a support line. Thank you, Neil. Yeah, and it's just then you're just above the. If you look over here, I mean you're just above that 114.60 target as well. So you can see there's going to be a probable reaction here. So if you get out just above that, probably makes sense. If you're getting in at 8, if you're getting in at 80, I suppose you're probably better off adding about 5 pips to that. So 114.85 probably makes sense. So if we just let me just add these back in. Guys, are you guys okay going at this pace? Obviously, I can go through things a lot quicker, but I want to make sure that you guys get a good explanation. If you want me to speed up, I can. So the two, so if you wanted to buy, by the way, guys, if you wanted to, you can put both orders on. So just below 117.16 and just below 117.70. And you can actually have multiple targets as well. But if you want to stick to one, then this area here is where Neil's saying around 114.85. I can't get her exact location. Siri's decided to start talking. Okay, so let's say if we do the maths, let's say, guys, we're getting at 70 and we have a stop. I mean, you could go above all of this, which means you'll be fairly safe, but so you could possibly go with about 100 pips stop. How much are you going for? You're going for a fair amount actually, so with 100 pip stop, which is just above the A, in fact it's quite a bit above the A, you're looking to make about 310 pips, so you've got about a 3-to-1 trade. Valerie says target 115.27, 118 fib and possible reaction area. Okay, so you're looking at this area here, yeah? 115.27. Okay. So really, I mean, you really want to get in, if you're going for that as a target, this is your zone. I think if we just pick a level, okay, this is the conservative level, so it gives you a good risk reward. Entry, short, 117.68. Okay. Target, you could just go conservative, obviously. Target. Above the round number. So this is a more conservative approach. And let's say you go with, where's your high there? 118.37. So if you went 30 pips above that, 118.67. Okay. I would personally go a little bit above that, and I would, because if you have a look over here, so I can explain why. Right now, although the bears have overall control, if you have a look at the price action here, who has control of this market, guys? Is it the bears or the bulls? Who has control of this market? Anybody? Oh, that's a really good point, Valerie, actually. Yeah, we have got that second, so the target. Oh, I see. So you mean the 115.60? Possibly. Or you're talking about the second target down here. So Alex says the bears have control, Jigger says the bears have control. Yes, I agree, overall they do. But if you look at the current price action, I would say that it's quite even. Okay, you've got a bit of a support and a bit of a resistance. And if you have a look over here, over this side here, when the market was dropping, like here, can you see how the market basically took out those highs and then eventually it sold off? And so you could have that same sort of possibility here where right now it's kind of 50-50 and you might get the bulls trying to push this a bit higher and then possibly, you know, take out these highs, take out the guys that are basically selling at the top here, and then eventually get the move lower. Now I'm gonna just see where we are actually also with the A, B, C, D. Let me just delete this 1 second, guys. Okay, so the current fib daily target is actually in the same sort of zone, around 115.20. That's the daily target. Now, I'm just going to have a quick little look at something here. So we have a trend line break. And you've got the 200 down here. Okay. So I think you've got, I think roughly actually where you said, Neil, I don't know if you had it for this reason, but you have got a daily D at 115.20, which is where Neil wanted to target. I think actually you said that as well, Valerie, 115.27. So I think, did Neil have the same level? No, sorry, Neil, you were a bit lower. So it was Valerie. Valerie, you said 115.27. Actually, it's pretty much a daily D as well. So that looks like a sensible target. Okay, so that's the plan for the euro dollar, guys. I will keep an eye on it, but basically looking for pullbacks in this zone to sell down to at least this kind of 115.20 area. Okay, I think we could have a bigger move than that, but right now I think that looks like the easy move back down. All right, let me move on, guys, because I spent quite a long time on that. Let's go. Any requests, by the way, especially for those that need to kind of run? Aussie dollar, yep, no problem. Let's do that one next. All right, so let me head straight to the weekly chart. So the Aussie is again pretty similarly done exactly as we expected. It's hit our level here, and the market sold off. Now, what's interesting is, because this is what we were kind of discussing here with the euro dollar, what's interesting is that this has actually blown through this old level of resistance that was supposed to hold it as support. And what's also very interesting is that if you have a look at this weekly bar, can you see how the market basically tested this level and then failed, which basically is implying that the bears still have control of this market right now, at least in the short term. Now, since we are going down. I'm just going to have a quick look to see where the next possible level might be that this market could find. Actually, that's a pretty nice level. Really nice reaction level. Good consolidation there. Let me just clean this up a bit. I don't. Okay. So 74.54 is about 210 pips away. Looks like a decent level because this is actually taking you back down to this outer trend line here. We do have an inner trend line right now coming up a little bit before that. It's but there's no real level there. That's so I'm just gonna do something here actually. Just delete this up fib so I can see a bit of a cleaner chart. I mean, I'm looking at this down for sure. I think this is the out. I mean, this is the outer trend line and a really good level. Is there anything before that? Might hold here a little bit, possibly, but it doesn't look strong enough that it's going to hold it. I think you're more likely to head back down to here. So let me go and see if the daily is in agreement with that. So I'm just going to, so you can see this was the perfect 118 fade, by the way, up here. And right. So we mentioned bear with me guys, just plug this in. So I'm just going to check the daily chart to see, and then we'll go to the smaller time frames to see if there's any confluence with those levels. Okay. Right. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to delete Fibonacci. I want to clean this up a little bit as well. Right, here's our outer trend line. So for me, the momentum is certainly down, and it looks like it's going to continue down. So now let me see what plan we can come up with. So we have a current A, B, 38 pullback, and our current target on the fib daily is 74.53. Let me go back to that weekly. Now look at that. Look at that, guys. I mean, that is just as powerful as you can get. If you guys remember, what I did here on the weekly was nothing to do with Fibonacci. I just identified what I saw as a key pivot level where the market will react. 74.54. We look at the daily chart, look at the Fibonacci target, 74.54. I mean, that's as powerful as you can get. So mark this level down. This looks like the obvious target level and the obvious reaction level as well. Take care, Valerie. Have a good one. Everybody, does that make sense? Sebastian, does that make sense? 74.54 looks like a play to, you could basically play it towards that level, but also this is a great area to take the other side. So what I'm going to put here is a target and possible buy zone. Really, really good level. So with that in mind, you can see the market has broken through this in a trend line. We've got a gap. Now, you could still get a move higher before going lower. That could still happen. Just trying to see if there's a... But overall, we are basically looking at this going lower. So if we go over to the smaller time frame, 4-hour chart, the smaller time frame, it looks a little bit different. So I need to possibly didn't. Okay, yeah, maybe I need to redraw this actually, guys. Yeah, sorry. So actually, when you look at it properly, we actually are on support here. So although yes, it looks like we're going to head down there, this is a bounce area similar to the euro dollar. So just looking at the two individual charts, euro dollar and Aussie dollar, it looks like the dollar may weaken here, okay, overall, just in the short term. So you could be looking at a bit of a pullback before potentially moving higher. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean this up and we'll come up with a plan for this one as well. Okay. Okay. That's the current trend line that we've got. And as it's not been that, I'm just going to take this off actually just to keep things a little bit cleaner. So what I want to do is I want to focus on the fibs here. And what you can do here is if you're looking for a level to potentially get yourself short in, or if you want to go against the trend, you can buy this. Just going to add in the up fibs. So the up fibs aren't really relevant right now because the A has been taken out, so I'm just going to delete them. but we are basically sitting on support. And you have a 618, which is really nice actually, around 77.88. So you've got a 618, and it's not a bad little area as well. This area here is quite good as well. So this basically here could be your sell zone. If you want to wait for it to kind of rally before looking for the short. And that comes in at 77.70 to 77.88. Where is that on the chart? Okay. So what you could simply do, guys, if you want to, let me see where the fib's pointing to as well. 74.54. Oh wow! So the 4-hour chart is also the same. That's it. Wow. When you've got, I mean, you've got 3 time frames now saying the same level. So really simple trade this is, guys. For me, I would sell it in this area if it got there. Place my stop above the A. And we'll target I'm going to go, because it's such a big level, I will go 10 pips above it. Any questions? Let me know if that makes sense. So you've got a decent, you want to have about a 2.5 to 1 there at least. Risk reward wise, going with the trend and the higher time frames. Yep, no worries. And then looking for really this area to buy it. Okay, get the bounce back up. Okay, perfect. All right, so that's Aussie. What should we go to cable next, guys? Want anything before that? Euro yen, yeah, that's fine. Let's go your 3 euro yen. Okay, weekly chart. So nothing has changed on this chart from when we last spoke about it. Okay, this is still in a sell zone. So we identified this red box here as our sell zone. This is a fade zone. Okay, the market has not pulled back to its Fibonacci levels, and we are overextended. Okay, the market in this sort of area, when the market moves fast, it can spike, but overall it will still go the way it's supposed to go. In which case, you know, most of the time, okay, 80% of the time, and in this case, we are looking for it to go back down towards 124.80. Nothing has changed. Nice candle, weekly bar there as well. We're just kind of consolidating. If we look at the daily chart, I mean, this is pretty nice. You have the, let me just double check the trend line's correct. So you have a trend line break. What looks like right now as a retest. And this is not updated. Hold on a minute, guys. For some reason this one is not updated. One second. Let me just check the... Ah, that's interesting. My lower time frames one have, but this one hasn't. Alright, let me just do something here. So let's go back to that. Ah, that's better. Okay. So it's just a daily chart for some reason. So if you guys remember, I actually sold this before. I've been short this and I haven't touched it, and I'm still in this exactly from my entry up here. Okay, and it is taking a long time, but you can't lose sight of where you think this market's going to go to. Okay, sometimes it can take a while. So let me delete all of this stuff, clean this up a bit. Okay, so here was our retest, really perfect retest of the trend line. The market has sold off since, and looking for it to really take the next step now and start to move lower. If I go back to that daily chart, weekly chart. I did identify 130.50 as a good first target. So I'm going to just put that in right there. So this looks to me like a good first target still. Really nice level. You'll probably get a reaction there. But overall, I do think the market is heading towards 124.80. Okay, so it's a really nice, really nice potential here, guys. Even if you're not short yet, okay. I mean, I'm only about 80 pips in profit. There's still plenty of room. This hasn't really done a lot. Okay, and this is like an example of, you know, if you give it some room and some time, more often than not, it will probably go the way it's supposed to go without stopping you out. Now, if you're not in this and you're looking to get in it, well, you have had a bit of a pullback here. So if we go to the smaller time frames, you may have an opportunity. So I'm going to move this down to 124.80. That's our second target. Clean this up much better. Okay, so let's go to the 4-hour chart. So we currently have an A, B. We've pulled back to the 50% at this stage. And what's quite interesting here is, can you see the DTR is basically right on the 618 here. So if you're looking for a value area, that could be quite a good little value area. Right on the 618 to get in, possibly around that 133.36. let me just also do one more thing here. Okay, so the fib is pointing a little bit higher. Let me see where the down fib is. Now that's really interesting. If you have a look here, guys, the down fib. See this? Can everybody see this target here? 130.50 comes in our basically at our 144 fib, and that coincides perfectly with the entry that we just spoke about. Everybody, does that make sense? So if you've studied the Fibonacci's, if you've done the advanced course, this should make a lot of sense to you. This looks like a really, really good potential sell zone around that 133.36 with a stop above the A at least, and a first target of 130.50, and you can leave some on for a much bigger target down. Jigger saying they might be making a head and shoulders pattern on the daily chart. Let me have a look. If are you referring to this one here? This one to be possibly a right shoulder here. Yeah, I mean you could argue that. I'm not a big fan of it kind of building sideways. Generally speaking, so if I go back to the euro dollar, for example, I prefer where the formation is formed basically as the rally is happening. So you've got the left shoulder, your head is formed, your right foot. Whereas with the euro yen, it looks like it's kind of gone sideways. Not discounting it, but it's gone sideways to form that pattern. So it's almost, you know, the idea of a head and shoulders pattern, it's a reversal of, it's basically a reversal of energy. So when the market's going sideways, it's not really reversing anything at that stage, but I could see what you're saying. So you can definitely see a left shoulder, head, right shoulder here. I mean, you could certainly measure it. I mean, if the market cares about it, you know, then it could still have some use. So there's no harm in taking that, projecting it down, and just having a look, you know, in case the market reacts there. And the same with this one, no harm in it at all. So, you know, but you know, overall, I probably wouldn't have even contemplated using it. Any questions about euro yen? Alex, as you asked the question, does it make sense? For me, this looks like a really good, especially one that you can actually leave to run. So you can take maybe half off. So if you're looking for those kind of trades where you can just literally sit on the sidelines, to me this looks like the perfect one. You give it the room it needs. So make sure your stop is above the A. Let me see. I mean, where is the A? So I've got 134.90. Yeah, I mean, that's perfect. I would go up here somewhere. So 135.15. Because you've got two targets, I mean, we could do the maths. This gives you a really good amount of room. So you're risking approximately 180 pips. you've got on your first target around 285, I believe. I've done that wrong. About 285 roughly. So, you're not getting a huge rewards risk on that first trade, but if you leave half on to run and you have a second target all the way down, basically down here, you just literally leave it alone, then you've got a lot of potential. I was short from 134.40, but I closed at 132, so I'm looking to get back in. Yeah, Alex, if you can get in around here, I think it's a really good entry, especially for today, because that's the top end of the DTR. So if you have a look back over here, if you look at this green line, you can see that on the day, it doesn't really go above it. So if you get this area today, you're probably selling at the high of the day. It's a good chance you're selling at the high of the day. So at least for the day, you should go into some profit if you get it at this price. Okay. It's not a bad little area actually as well. It's a really good, nice little cluster of resistance here as well. That was support. So you can see it's reacted there in the past and here. So really good. And you've got the 618, it's perfect for me. Okay, so Euro Yen looking for 133.36-ish to get in short. Right, let's go and look at cable and then we'll take a short break, guys. Okay, so cable, basically we've had the weekly hit our trend line perfectly. We spoke about it at the time. It's come off, sold off quite nicely, obviously bounced, and now it looks like another swing high. Now it has kind of basically held at the support area. You could argue the same thing as the euro dollar here, which is that possibly this market is now just holding here as support, maybe just going to range for a little bit. Overall, I spoke about this before I went away, and I'll still say this again. At this stage, we should be looking at cable coming lower towards 127.05. That's if you can break through this area, this market will head down probably to 127. Now, what I'm going to do here, you can see we're basically also on support. So again, similar to the euro dollar, probably sterling might actually overpower the dollar over the coming days, or this week. Maybe the weekly will end up coming back and testing these highs up here. If we go and look at the daily chart, you can see we're actually at support as well. So everything is pointed to dollar weakness at the moment that I've looked at, okay, in the short term. Now, obviously, we could break through, and if we do, then we've got a strong move potentially lower. But right now, we're on support, so we should be considering the possibility of dollar weakness. And overall, this is the fib target if it does go lower. So looking for it to kind of bounce here up and then lower. And if we go to the 4-hour chart, again, for me, this looks, I mean, this is messy. I need to clean this up, but I'll clean this up. But basically, this looks to me that it's probably going to bounce. We haven't quite got to the bottom of the trend line here. So, and you know, obviously it's a round number. So if it does kind of fall a little bit, I think you might find some support and possibly something like this. In fact, you could actually channel this like this. You could actually argue that that's the bottom end, and we could just to really show what's happening here. You see that? This is really where the market's working at the moment, going from support, resistance, support, resistance, support, overshoot. Here you can say support, and then heading back up right now. Anybody got any questions about cable? I mean, this is right now, if you're unless you're going to go against the trend, similar to the euro, you're basically going to have to sit and wait for this. So you can either buy it, either here or here, if it does kind of have one more push down, or sit on the sidelines depending on your plan. Okay. So kind of everything we've spoken about. So we've spoken about the Aussie dollar, we've spoken about the euro dollar, and we've spoken about cable, and all three look like right now they are going to be stronger than the dollar in the very short term. Relative to the dollar, Sebastian, yes, but overall down against the dollar. So when you look at the weekly chart, right now it's in an uptrend. So, well, I guess I'd say overall down, but actually it's not accurate. It's actually making higher highs and higher lows on the higher time frame. It hasn't broken the support line. It's threatened to. Okay, so, but right now in the short term, despite having this really, really bearish day, I'm looking for this to hold on this trend line and bounce higher. And we've got 132.48. So I think at least a bounce towards the top end of this channel is what you should be looking at, and it could possibly just go and test this 132.44. If you're going to go long, this is a good area. You know, remember it's counter. It's basically, it's not the cleanest setup. It's kind of counter to the immediate move, but it looks more probable, especially if you give it a little bit of room. And when I say a little bit of room, I mean, well, you know, you've got a bit of you've got 130 there. So let's say you put your stop like there. You should be, you know, you should be in the right direction to catch it back up towards here. Obviously, you don't have to take it. You can wait for it to do its thing and then look for a potential short up here. But looks perfectly fine if you're happy to go with these type of just simple trades. You know, it's basically buying at the bottom of a channel if you want to keep it simple. Does that make sense, guys? Sebastian, everybody else? Okay, perfect. Right, guys, let's take a break. Let's take 15 minutes and we'll return and we'll carry on going through the rest of the majors and any other currency pairs that look good. Okay, any requests, let me know and I'll make sure we cover them before we wrap up today. So let me just pause this recording. All right, guys, I'm back. Sorry, guys, a couple of minutes late. All right, let's carry on. So I got a question regarding, you know, how you actually go about entering these positions. Okay, so we've spoken about a few potential setups. So, for example, if we go back to, say, like the euro dollar, and let's say you wanted to sell it in this zone, you know, one of these two levels, we spoke about the 170.68. In this sort of situation here, I would place a pending sell limit order. Okay, pending sell limit order with an automatic stop and an automatic target. If you were to split your position up, if you wanted to kind of run it for a bigger target as well, you could place your order twice. Okay, so through MT4 you can't split your target level, so you need to enter it twice. So you enter the market twice. Okay, so this is a pending limit order. If you wanted to take advantage, for example, of a possible move back up here, buying at the bottom of the channel, in this sort of situation, you could simply just buy at market here. Okay, so you're going against the trend, but you could buy at market and you could look for a target here. So this is literally just getting in the market, putting your stop and putting your target in place. And if we go back to the Aussie, same thing, depending on what you want to do. Again, here would be a pending sell order. So you put a pending sell limit order anywhere between 77.70 and 77.88, and the euro yen is exactly the same, a pending sell order. Okay, sell limit order. So again, around that 36, sell limit 133.36 or just below that, with a stop above the A and a target wherever you're setting it. Okay, so again, with this one, you could set two orders, one to get you out around 130.60 and another one to take you all the way down to our weekly level, which is 124.83. Okay, so hopefully that is clear. Let me know if you've got any questions about that. No worries. Okay, so next let's go and have a look at the Kiwi. What's going on with our friend the Kiwi? So it looks like the sell-off is continuing here. We've actually closed below these support lines here as well. Looks pretty bearish. Now, in terms of levels and where this market might get to, I'm going to just clean this up a little bit here. So let's have a look. This looks like a decent little area. So where it stopped, doesn't it? So you can see the market has resistance, good little open close here, support, and again we're at support. So again, similar to what we discussed earlier, it could be a case that this might just be due a bounce here. Okay, it has just broken the trend line. So overall there is weakness, but certainly this could hold here. I mean, you could definitely argue, to be fair, if we kind of take away the trend line. Let me see if I can close. Can't seem to select this box. There we go. You could definitely argue the case that we are, apart from the kind of fake break here, we're basically in a range, aren't we, here? Going from resistance to support, resistance to support, resistance to support. So quite annoying, can't ever sort this box out. Okay, so we are right now in a bounce zone. So Kiwi dollar probably, just like the others, will probably strengthen here against the dollar. And this is you can clearly see good levels down here on the daily chart. And looks again probable that this market will bounce higher. I'm just going to check where the sub fibs are here as well, just to see. And look at that, we've actually hit the D, bounced. We haven't quite reached the 38 yet, and so that is actually in play. 69.77 looks like a good target area. So Kiwi dollar looks like it's going to move a bit higher as well. So everything at the moment in the short term is pointing to a move higher and a move lower for the dollar. Right, here's the Kiwi trend lines. And look at this. This is the market angle that I must have identified before I went away. Let me see if it's doing the same thing right now. Look at that, guys. I mean, it's just amazing, right? How it just repeats. And so therefore, it's pretty simple. As long as we're above this white line here, we're looking to buy this. And you know, you have actually got the 38 here that hasn't been hit yet, so could use that as a target zone as well. That would mean a break of this trend line here. It is going to go back down there, up there. But there could be some sort of market angle. Just going to draw the up fibs here as well. Keep that into account. Look at that. That's interesting. Possibly first swing. So again, this looks like a buy right now. First target you could go for is here, the 1618. You could in fact just do this. 69.86. You can see it's roughly a 618 pullback here, almost. Good area here of old resistance. This looks like a buy zone to me. You could place your stop below the A if you want to be safe down here. You've got a target up there. So this is similar to cable. This would be a buy at market if you're going to take this one on. We'll also just add in the DTR indicator just to kind of see where the likelihood is for the day. Just bear with me. So look at that. Target actually would match perfectly with the DTR. So you could buy it, you could even sell it up here on the trend line. So if you're a bit more of a day trader, this could be sort of buy zone. And this sort of area up here could be your sell zone. Everybody, let me know if this makes sense. I can't select it. There we go. No. There we go. So buy zone, sell zone. Any questions, guys? Just let me know if that makes sense. Great stuff. Okay. Next, let's go back. And have a look at the dollar yen. See what's going on there. Okay. So last time I was on, we did actually look at the kind of channel here, and we were saying, you know, these are resistance points, support points. If you have a look here, what the market has done since, can you see how we've basically closed above it? But most importantly, not only have we closed above it, can you see how the market's actually tested this and held? Which basically at the moment is saying to us that possibly the yen might be about to weaken. So it looks like dollar yen has got some momentum. Yes, we do have a little bit of resistance here for sure, but I do like the way it was holding. Let me just delete this. So you can see it was really kind of channeling quite nicely. And we've basically broken and tested and now held. Now if we go over to the daily chart, still not a huge fan of buying this. Just still looks like, I mean, we have broken through that channel, but I'm just still very wary that there was a lot of ranging going on here. And this is a quite a key level here. So despite the fact of what I said that it could go higher, I'm not really too keen on it. I think there's enough reason why the sellers might want to get involved in these kind of zones here. And that kind of sits okay with me as well, considering, you know, I'm short euro yen, and we discussed the other opportunity of getting in again at the 36 level today. So let me see where so look at that, we're actually completing a cycle here as well, guys. We've just hit a D. So I think in the short term, dollar yen looks like a short, okay, right now in the short term. Looks like it's just at the top of a range here and should potentially sell off. But it's not a trade that I particularly like and want to take right now. But if you're looking for a bias, I would say yen strength. So again, dollar weakness looks more likely in the short term. So Tom says, I have that at today's. If today's bar closed beneath 146, then it's a sell on your daily chart, I assume. Yeah. Yeah, it's just it is spiky in general, Neil. And yes, I would agree that at least in the short term, it looks more like a sell to me. Got a little bit of divergence here as well, I think, on this MACD. Market making high highs. In clearly divergence. So it looks like there could be some selling action coming in. Okay, but it's not one I'm going to really get involved with against the dollar. I'd rather just look at it against other currencies right now. Let's go to dollar CAD. Okay, nice bounce since we last looked at this. Actually hit old resistance trend line. Has broken back above here, so this is like, you could look at this as a fake break here, and has had a nice rally since. Next level is up here. We haven't quite reached there yet, so there's a little bit of room still. This doesn't look as appealing as some of the others against the dollar. Let me just see a few things here. Yeah, so this actually looks like there could be some possible movement down, or just kind of not doing much this week. Let me see what the daily chart looks like. So I'm just gonna clean this up. So we've got an A, B, C, D. Okay, so we've already pulled back to the 38 from here. Possibly, you know, where's the next level of resistance? Maybe around here. It's got maybe a little bit more room to the downside here, dollar CAD. So actually, no, it is the same way. Sorry, so at least in the short term, dollar weakening against the CAD looks more likely. Have I got a trade set up there? Not really. Oh wow, look at that. It's a 127 fade, guys. It's a 127 fade. Look at that. Double top. Now, the 38 is at 126.57, which is basically this old level of resistance. That's probably where we're going. But how do you get involved? Right now, it's not so easy. So CAD strength, dollar weakness, it's just whether you can get in. I think you're going to have to play a momentum trade. We do have data. Let me so we've got inventories. We've got tomorrow we've got Draghi speaking as well. So we've got inventories on Wednesday. And I think, and then we got, and on Tuesday so evening we've got Polo speaking as well. So they can be quite useful sometimes if you're looking for a spike to get in for the potential short. So 126.57 looks like a very likely target. Okay. Any questions about dollar CAD, guys? I'll quickly, one thing you can do is you can do the hourly fibs going down. That could maybe allow you to get in on a fib pullback on the hourly. Let me see. Maybe not, but so far pretty much in line. A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D, A, B. Here's your C so far. And what this would allow you to do is obviously you'd place a much tighter stop, but you'd be going in with the speech. So that's the only thing to bear in mind. And if you find a level, okay, so you don't probably want to go full position or something like this for news, but if you're going to go in a level, you can actually go deep, which is around here, 128. Let me see where the DTR comes in as well. I'm just going to put in okay, so DTR is quite a way. Can't see the okay. Just trying to see where the let's have a look. Let's do it manually. So you've got the 1618 all the way up here. So sorry about this, guys. Bear with me. Let me just redraw these fibs in. All right. So you could go really, really deep. Where's the 1618 come in? That's not a bad area at all, is it? If you want to take a very short, a very minor risk to try and catch it down towards 126.50, basically you could look to sell it around here. So I'm going to box this up here as a sell zone. So you could do this one with a very small stop if you're going to go in with a really deep target. So because we've got the 200 there, so I'll probably go a little bit above the A there. So then you're risking this much to basically make, so from here to here, to basically make this target. So it's a really high reward to risk. And possibly inventories or Apollo speaking could take it down there. Okay, you can see it's some strong selling there as well. Any questions about dollar CAD, guys? Again, this would be pending orders. Now, guys, you don't have to do pending orders, but I'm trying to help you build a plan where you can do this type of work on the side of your jobs. And so, you know, the most practical thing you can do and consistent thing you can do is to place orders and then get on with your day. Okay, and that's obviously you don't have to. If you're a day trader, you can use these zones to you know, look for reaction, look for candlestick formations and so on before taking a trade. Let me go through dollar Swiss as well. So dollar Swiss actually is looking quite strong actually. So it's had a good move here. It looks like it's just channeling right now. And I'm not really sure where these lines have come from, but I'm deleting them right now. Okay. Market seems to like this kind of angle here. Does react. Kind of resistance becomes support. It's not perfect. It's quite a difficult one to actually find a good angle, but certainly enough reaction here for me to kind of put it in from here to here. So you could get a little bit of a reaction. I'm also looking at this with a little bit of a bias, if I'm honest. The fact that the dollar looks weak across the board, at least short term, so almost looking for it. But you can definitely see it could be an area where dollar Swiss might pull back. Where's it going to pull back to? Well, natural area would be back at least to go and test this level here. So if we go to the daily chart, it's actually at a D as well. So again, another reason why this market may come down. The 38% comes in at least around the 98.55. We should be looking at 98.55. Where's 98.55 here? So about there. So looking really for this to come off now. And it's at a decent area, okay? At the D. If we look at the 4-hour chart, what signs is it giving us? Anybody trade the dollar Swiss or open to trading it? To be honest, I never used to trade it after the peg, but I've kind of started considering it again. Wasn't a massive Swiss trade anyway. Sebastian, looking for the short, yeah. Yeah, it looks like it does look like a short to me. And you could see that, but I mean, this isn't actually, I was going to say this is quite bearish, but actually it's not. So I'm not going to say that. The fact that the market has actually going sideways, the MACD is coming off, that's actually quite a bullish price action, if I'm honest. So it's almost similar. If you have a look over here, where the market was basically going sideways, like here, this area, and you see how the MACD was basically just building, coming back towards the zero line, and then eventually you can see what happened next. So just based on this price action, actually it's not showing me any bearish price action. So, and it is at a D, so there are reasons why it might go down, but I'm not seeing enough price action to say that it's time to sell. But you've got to make your own decisions, obviously. But also with the bias in the kind of dollar weakness, the short side probably is the better play. But I don't really have a setup for it. Let me just check something here as well. Let me just add in the fibs going up on this one. See where anything is. So we had hit a D, we've pulled back to the 50%, and now we're just ranging. So personally, I would actually, if it is going to go down, I'd rather let it go down. On this one, I'd rather let it go down and then look for a buy, or at least get a bit more confirmation. Possibly, what target did we say? So we spoke about 98.50, didn't we? And then possibly a bit lower, but at least 98.50. Which is the daily 98.50. So if I put that 98.50 on here, where is that? So that's pretty much, yeah. I mean, do you know what? For the reward to risk, if you short this, Sebastian, and you place a stop there, and you target basically back towards here, which is a decent target. For the reward to risk that you're going to get, it could be worth a play. You know, you're not going to risk a lot on something like that. You've got an obvious target to go for. My only hesitation is, like I said, the price action at the moment isn't reflective of this going lower on the smaller time frame. Guys, are there any kind of cross currencies that you want me to look at? If not, I'm going to look at some of the commodities. But from what I've seen, there's no kind of real strength versus weakness play that I can see. Nothing obvious. Oh, I see, Sebastian. Sebastian saying this was a long trade and looking for take profit at 95.50, but will not enter it now. 95.50. Do you mean a long-term trade? Is that what you mean, Sebastian? Ah, long-term. Okay. Fine. Yeah, I mean, I can see, this has been in a big range. So I could easily see it going all the way back to the bottom of the range. Guys, anyone want me to look at the cross pairs? Anyone in particular? If not, I'm going to go through now. I'm going to go through the commodities, but if anybody wants me to go back, the reason I'm not spending any time on them, or haven't, is because I haven't seen anything obvious right now, as of today, for strength versus weakness play. It just looks across the board that we should just get a bit of a dollar pullback. So that's why I haven't really looked. But there are some ideas like, for example, the Kiwi, but again, we're looking at that potentially going higher. So maybe yen, if anything, like, we looked at euro yen, I think, but then again, I can't see, the Kiwi looks like it should pull back as well. So maybe Kiwi yen, we can have a look at some of the yens. But I think we're better. We'll get better opportunities during the week on, I think right now you either play a dollar pullback or sit on the sidelines, personally. So looks like we've had a decent move down on gold. Just hit a bit of a level here. If we go over to the daily chart, let me see what's happening here. So I spoke about 1245 quite some time now. Hasn't got down there yet. We did get to kind of a fade zone, rallied, hasn't quite reached the 38 yet. So there is still that possibility that this market might want to rally, especially if the dollar does sell off. You could actually get, this could be a decent opportunity for your gold, if you're a gold trader. This pullback here today could actually represent a buying opportunity, just based even just on the fact that you haven't hit the 38, and plus the dollar looks like it might pull back. Okay, so for those that don't know, like, generally speaking, there's a sort of correlation where the dollar weakens, the gold strengthens. And it's not as strong as it used to be with all these kind of alternatives now, but there's still definitely a correlation there. So if you see the dollar potentially weakening, you might also expect that gold might go up. So how did it look on the smaller time frame? Let's have a look. So let's do some cleaning here. I'm just gonna have a look. I'm gonna get rid of some things. Don't like to see mess on my charts. Can't see clearly. I'm gonna just get rid of a few things here. Okay, perfect. Okay, so it's just consolidating right now. I am gonna put manual fib on, and you can see this whole move down, the A has not been taken out, so it's been a pretty good A, pretty good. And we currently have an A, B, C. You've got 618, this is 1291. Now where is that 38 up here? It's always quite high. So 1315. That would actually take out the A. So that's an interesting one. Bit of a dilemma on that one. So if the market does go and complete the 38 on the daily, it means it will take out the 4A. And you can see we haven't actually done that. So I must think that I do favour the long side here. I think as a day trader, I'd probably just trade this long, but not necessarily long term. I think 1290 should be your level, guys. So Tom, I know you trade gold. If I was trading this as a day trader, maybe scalping this, and I think there's a huge opportunity right now. I think the 618, and you can see it's quite a nice little level, 1290, 1288. I think that's about all I would do right now on this one, and I'll probably leave it alone. Short term. That's my personal opinion, but I don't see a great deal of opportunity right now in gold. Not at where we're at. Okay, I've got too many conflicting signals. So I think I'd probably trade it up to here if you're going to scalp this, if you've got some indication of this going higher. But other than that, I'd kind of class this as a range, and really overall still looking for this to go down towards 1245. So the short side be more favorable overall. So similar to the dollar, where we're saying dollar might pull back, but overall it's got still got some strength in it. So I'm saying what I'd like to see is a push down to 1248 to 1255 level. That would put prices trading at a key level of support, but also the bottom of the bull channel, and then look to buy it. Yep, so basically looking for the push, really what we're saying here, down to here, and then looking for the push higher. Yeah. So this idea really would be more for your kind of shorter term moves, scalp traders. All right, so that's gold, and let me also go and look and see what crude has been doing. So we spoke about the long-term short before I went away, because we are basically at support. I even drew this in. This is one of those where you could just sit on it for a while if you took it. So basically from where we drew, it's like anywhere up here, you're basically at the top of a range here. So anywhere up here, we were saying about the short side, nothing has really changed. It has sold off a little bit since then. Doesn't mean it's the top. You've got to make sure you give this room. Okay, this little yellow line here is where I basically indicated a stop. So basically above all of these highs, make sure that no craziness, no crazy spikes or inventories spikes you out. If you're going to take a trade like this, take it, sit on it, and you're better off going with a forward rather than a cash. Okay, because this looks like a long-term play. Okay, so a forward, you pay a bigger spread, but you are when you're looking to hold something for over like a month, it will basically mean that you'll save money overall, okay, on the rollover, on the daily rollover. But yeah, that's really all I'll say about crude. Nothing's really changed for me to kind of comment on it. And let me also look at the S&P. See if any, I mean, this is just still going, guys. Nothing really kind of new to report. It's pretty relentless. You can see at the moment we are kind of entering our usual fade zone. These are not ones to be faded. Okay, we haven't back tested the S&P to see how well they work. Well, the way it's moving right now, you can see a lot of the time you're getting a bit of a pullback like here, but the market is not putting back to its usual fib levels, and it's continuing to go higher. Okay, so if you really wanted to play the fade, then the 23.6 looks like a more sensible target than the 38. All right, guys. Well, look, I think I'm going to wrap it up there, guys. I'm going to go through more cross currencies tomorrow, but right now, to kind of summarize, unless anybody's got any questions, we're just looking for that bit of a dollar pullback before looking to see dollar resume its strength. Okay, so there's some opportunities there, either through pending orders on a pullback, or getting in that market to play that potential dollar pullback. Okay, so any final questions, guys? Hopefully that was useful. Good to be back in the markets. Perfect. Guys, thank you for turning up. Thanks for your time. Hope you all have a great day. Good trading, and I will catch you again tomorrow morning. Take care, guys.